Unbelievable rescue. Billionaire exposes shocking truth after 3 thugs attack a black girl. Maya was just 12, but she was already a bright spark in her lively urban neighborhood. The streets buzzed with laughter from children playing tag, and the chatter of neighbors catching up between shops filled with colorful goods. Her life was a beautiful mess of crayons clashing against sketchbook pages, and a backpack filled with art supplies that weighed more than her body. Raised by a single mother, a nurse working tirelessly at the local hospital, Maya was a testament to resilience. Hope danced in her heart like sunlight on a summer day as she walked home from a captivating art class, dreaming of one day transforming her sketches into stunning realities. But that afternoon, as fate twisted its cruel hand, 3 faces appeared in her path. The smiles of the day faded. The thugs had menacing smiles twisted with malice and an energy that screamed danger. Fear shot through her. It felt like an icy grip around her chest. She stood frozen, heart pounding, the world shrinking around her. Just when darkness threatened to take root in her spirit, a figure emerged from street shadows. David, the local boy turned billionaire, now masked by wealth and memories. David had come back to a community he once called home because guilt gnawed at him like a hungry wolf. Trained instincts kicked in as he found Maya cornered. He stepped forward, confronting the thugs with a voice steadied by years of overcoming his own struggles. A rush of adrenaline surged through him. He acted swiftly, taking down the aggressors with stunning precision, becoming her unexpected hero in that instant. Relief flooded Maya's veins as she was pulled into safety, but the relief was shot through with confusion. What did this life of privilege mean for her and her neighborhood? The whispers started swirling almost immediately. Why is he back now? Has he forgotten where he came from? Murmurs echoed around them, skepticism thick as the air after a heavy rain. His wealth, once viewed as a ticket for hometown pride, now felt like a heavy chain weighing down his return. David, drenched in the weight of his past and the scars of struggle, felt the community's doubt seep into his bones. Maya watched the fear turn onto David. She felt guilty for needing help from a man they now viewed with distrust. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Days stretched into weeks filled with unspoken tension. Maya grappling with fear, the shadow of that day looming heavily, while David wrestled with ghosts from his past. Pivotal conversations with their families became harsh judgments, sparking wounds they never knew existed. They felt the community's ire and disappointment tugging at their budding friendship. Hope flickered as they prepared for the town hall meeting, a chance to bridge the growing chasm between wealth, privilege, and heartfelt authenticity. David vowed to speak up for Maya and her dreams, and in doing so, reveal his understanding of their struggles. As they faced the crowd, voices rose with confusion and distrust. An electric tension filled the air. Would they find a spark of collaboration? Could empathy build bridges where walls were fortified? All eyes were locked on them, the future dangling precariously above, leaving hearts racing and questions echoing. Could the impossible become real? The town hall buzzed with palpable energy, a mix of anxiety and anticipation. Maya stood at David's side, her heart hammering like a drum in her chest. She could feel the weight of the community's gaze, every pair of eyes a mixture of skepticism and curiosity. A small knot in her stomach twisted tighter as murmurs floated around the room, people debating quietly amongst themselves. David stepped forward, taking a deep breath. He looked around, catching the eyes of familiar faces, each echoing a separate story of struggle, survival, and hope. He could see the older generations, their frown lines etched deep, perhaps reflecting years of hardship. And the youth, with restless energy, trying to navigate a world unkind and often unfair. "Thank you all for being here," David began, his voice steadying with each word. "I know some of you may wonder why I came back after all this time." He paused, gauging the crowd's reaction. "I've been so many things in my life: a friend, a son, a sibling. But I never stopped being a part of this community. It's part of who I am." Maya felt a spark of hope as he spoke. If anyone could bridge the gap, it was David. He extended a hand toward her, and she stepped up next to him. Her heart raced, the moment wrapping around her like a comforting embrace. This was her chance too. "Maya is special," he continued, his gaze warm as it landed on her. "She has dreams that, I believe, can change this neighborhood for the better. She needs our support. We need each other." A murmur in the crowd grew louder. "What can he do?" someone called out, doubt creeping into their tone. Other voices joined in, rising like a wave. "You've left us." "Yeah, you think your money can fix everything?" It felt like an avalanche, their frustrations rolling in, burying the positive intention in the air. David raised his hands for calm. "No, wait. I don't want to pretend that wealth can solve everything. It can't. What I want is for us to come together as a community. Looking at all of us, this diverse, beautiful tapestry, there is so much potential if we invest in each other. I'm here to invest in those dreams, to help Maya's vision come alive." Maya stepped forward, her voice surprisingly clear despite her nerves. "I want to create a community art program. A place where kids can express themselves, just like I do with my drawings. We can turn this neighborhood into a canvas. But we need support. We need your voices and your hearts in this." Silence fell momentarily. For a fleeting moment, the world around them paused, each individual reflecting on the dreams of a 12-year-old girl standing confidently in front of them. It was just a flicker, but Maya felt it, a gathering of hope. But as the murmurings resumed, one woman stood up, her expression hardened. "And what if it fails? What is in it for you?" That question hung heavy, and Maya's heart dropped into her stomach. What if it did fail? David looked over at Maya, then addressed the crowd. "It's not about failure or success. It's about trying. We owe it to ourselves to try. None of us can do this alone. We have to lift each other, protect each other." Those words landed like thunderclaps, and the murmur shifted. David's vulnerability, along with Maya's youthful passion, painted a different picture as faces transformed from disbelief to contemplation. But just as things began to shift, the unexpected sound of a glass shattering echoed through the hall. Heads turned sharply toward the entryway where a hooded figure stood, an air of defiance radiating around them. Intrigue and suspicion flooded the air. What was about to unfold? Questions lingered like shadows, dark and foreboding. Would the past come crashing down on their dreams, or could they manage to turn the tide? The figure in the doorway stepped further into the light, revealing the sharp features of a young man with striking eyes that glimmered with a mix of anger and defiance. Gasps pierced the crowd as whispers swirled. Some recognized him. He was Aaron, a known troublemaker with ties to the darker parts of town. "What are you doing here?" David called out, his voice slicing through the tension. Aaron smirked, pushing back the hood of his jacket to reveal an unruly tangle of hair. "I heard you're trying to buy our neighborhood with your fancy dreams and loaded wallet." Newsflash, David, money doesn't make you a part of this community. He glanced at Maya, contempt etched into his expression. "And you? You think a little art program will change anything? You're dreaming if you think the hardships we face can be fixed with crayons and paint." David's jaw clenched. The murmurs grew louder, confusion and anger mixing. For every bold word from Aaron, There was a reluctant agreement exchanged among members of the crowd. Maya felt the walls closing in, their growing resolve sinking her spirit. "No, he's wrong," she blurted out, forcing her voice to rise above the unrest. "It's not just about art. It's hope. It's creating a place where wealthy kids can play while we suffer." Aaron interrupted harshly, his voice filled with bitterness. "Do you have any idea how many of us don't even have the luxury of your colors? The world isn't a canvas, and you're just another paintbrush wielded by a privileged hand." Maya's heart raced, emotions swirling like a storm inside her. She felt the urge to retreat but stood firm. "You don't have to agree with me, but if you don't join us, things will never change." Shadows of doubt threatened to take over her light, but she kept her stance. "But Aaron, wasn't done. You think you're going to change anything? Why fight for a community when you can just leave and forget about us again?" His voice dripped with sarcasm. It cut deep, jagged pieces wedging their way into the hearts of those who had invested in David's return. As the crowd started to vibrate with uncertainty, David took a decisive step toward Aaron. "Listen, I know I made mistakes. I left, but I'm back. We can build something together. No one here is standing alone. If you want to know what this community means to me, just ask the people who never gave up." The confrontation was electric, igniting a wildfire of emotions. David's honesty seemed to spark a flicker of hope in a few. But Aaron, unfazed, hurled a challenge back. "Prove it. Prove that you actually care instead of just pretending you do." Maya watched the exchange, her breath shallow, ideas swirling in her mind. Prove it. That simple request held volume, colliding thunderously within her heart. A giant wave of determination washed over her, igniting a response she didn't know she had. "Let us put on a show," she ventured, her voice rising with certainty. "Let us hold a community festival. Art, music, food, all of us together. The young and the old, the new and the old. Let us show everyone what we can do as one." The room fell silent again, each person absorbing the weight of her words. Could they really come together despite their fears? And as Aaron shifted, his expression flickering between doubt and intrigue, the murmurs grew, accompanied by glances exchanged among the townsfolk. David's eyes met Maya's, curiosity igniting an unspoken agreement. In the silence, Maya's small voice offered a new hope, but would it be enough? The air thickened with anticipation, both hopeful and fraught with tension. One simple idea could either light the spark or douse it in darkness. What would come next? Would they rise above the judgment or crumble under it? The whispers in the crowd began to simmer down, each face trying to grasp Maya's audacious offer. She felt their uncertainty like a heavy fog trying to close in around her. Aaron crossed his arms, the defiance still evident in his stance, but she felt something shift in the atmosphere. Hope hovered tentatively, like a tiny candle in a dark room, fighting to stay lit. "Can we really do that?" one of the elder women in the back asked, her voice trembling slightly. "I don't know if our neighborhood has ever seen anything like a festival." Maya wanted to reach out to her, to tell her that it was possible, that they could bring the whole community together. "Yes, we can," she explained, her conviction strengthening with every second. "It'll be our festival. We'll showcase our talents, our culture. Whoever wants to help can pitch in. We'll use our voices. This is how we prove we care." Aaron laughed bitterly, shaking his head. "And then what? When it's over? Back to the same old struggles? A festival won't feed us or change our realities." "Maybe not," Maya replied, but the words poured out of her, fueled by the urgency of the moment. "But it's a start. We can't dismiss this. Unity is powerful, and when we come together, people notice. They start caring. We can create change, real change." David stood beside her, his features softening. "What if we organize everything ourselves? Everyone who wants to pitch and can help, bring food, talent, anything. This is our chance to step forward, all of us. He turned toward Aaron. Even you. The crowd stirred again, voices starting to rise in a cacophony of mixed feelings. Some murmured encouragement, others held back skepticism. Their faces displayed hope fought by years of disappointment. But there was something different in the air now, a challenge given life by their shared vulnerability. Listen up, Maya called, her heart racing. Imagine seeing our kids smiling, painting the mural of our history, dancing, singing, sharing the stories that matter most. We can show everyone who we are when we come together. A young man toward the front nudged Aaron. It could be fun, you know? We won't know until we try. Aaron shifted slightly, annoyance still visible but something softer flickering behind his eyes. He was resilient, she'd give him that. He wouldn't back down easily, and perhaps that was what made him formidable. Maya felt her breath hitch as she understood the weight of her words. We can fight this together. Silence fell once more amidst the crowd, and in that moment, every person there considered what she had said. Are you with me? She shouted, desperation clawing at her through clenched fists. Will you help us? One by one, heads began to nod. Some fists were raised. Even the faintest sound of encouragement broke through like the sun peeking through clouds. Suddenly, a burst of applause erupted from the back of the room, inspiring others to join in. Then the clapping turned into cheers, bright faces gleaming with renewed energy. Maya looked over at David, and that spark of fierce determination blossomed brighter between them. Perhaps together they could pull this off. But as the excitement roared, Aaron stepped forward defiantly. Fine, let us see if you can match your words with action then. I'll be there. But you better believe I'm not going to let you hide behind your privilege pretending to care. His challenge hung in the air, electrifying and daunting. Maya met his gaze, her heart pounding with possibilities. Challenge accepted, she managed, the uncertainty shifting into an exhilaration that felt almost tangible. They had built the first rungs of change, but with Aaron watching every move, their journey was bound to be fraught with obstacles. What awaited them next? Would the festival truly unite them, or would the weight of their differences tear them apart? Maya felt the air thrum with energy. The cheers had faded, but the atmosphere was alive, crackling with anticipation. She caught the eye of the elder woman again, who nodded slowly, uncertainty still knitting her brow. It was a chance, something more than just a glimmer of hope. It was a real opportunity to make a mark, but would they follow through? All right, let us break it down, David shouted, raising his voice to rally everyone. We'll need volunteers for every part. Who is good at organizing? Who can cook? Perform? Paint? Let us start making lists. Maya watched as people started to move. Conversations sparked up around her. Local artists shared ideas about murals, while someone else discussed food booths. A young girl tugged at her mother's sleeve, eyes shining, whispering what she wanted to showcase at the festival. The tide was shifting. Even Aaron seemed hesitant, part of him watching closely, as if waiting to pounce on any misstep. His arms were still crossed, but there was a different energy about him. Maybe, just maybe, he felt something more than mistrust simmering beneath the surface. Let us have weekly meetings, Maya proposed, lifting her voice to break through the buzz of excitement. We can all gather to check in on progress and make sure everyone is heard. No one is left out. As the crowd murmured its approval, she felt her pulse quicken. The vision was becoming clearer, more concrete. But she knew reality had its way of throwing surprises. The crowd's enthusiasm could turn on a dime. Days turned into a week, and meetings were chaotic but uplifting. Maya stood at the front, jotting down names, talents, and ideas as David encouraged others to speak up. The heady smell of home-cooked meals wafted through as everyone began to bring food to share. Laughter echoed through the small community center room as people watched little kids practicing their dance routines. It was like a tiny spark igniting into something greater. Yet, in the backdrop was Aaron's scrutiny. He started showing up, folding his arms as he listened, his expression a mix of skepticism and grudging respect. Each time Maya glanced his way, she felt her stomach twist. What was his angle? One late afternoon, while cleaning up after another planning session, Maya found him lingering at the door. "You think you can keep this up?" he asked, his voice low and steady. "I have to believe we can," she replied, matching his intensity. "It's all about the community coming together." His gaze flickered to the group laughing nearby. "And when the festival is over, what is left?" "That's when the real work begins," she said firmly. "This is just the beginning. We have to carry the spirit of this festival in everything we do afterward. The festival is about more than just one day." He studied her, the lines of doubt on his forehead easing just a touch. "If you're sincere about it, don't expect an easy ride." "I wouldn't have it any other way," she declared. Leaving the community center that night, Maya felt the weight of what lay ahead. Each person's hopes and dreams were tangled in this plan. The uncertainty of it all loomed like a storm cloud. Maybe Aaron was right. The festival wouldn't fix everything. But how could they erase years of hurt and disconnection, if not starting here? With the weeks flying by, excitement began to blend with anxiety. The festival was just around the corner, but shadows loomed, two silent doubts that begged to be acknowledged. Did they truly have what it took to pull this off, or would their differences pull them apart? Maya took a deep breath, her heart a drum in her chest. All that energy, all the passion. They were on the brink of something unimaginable, but one question echoed through her thoughts. What sacrifices would they have to make to ensure this festival became more than just a fleeting moment of joy? Maya woke to the vibrant sunlight spilling through her window, piercing her dreams of laughter and celebration. A wave of determination washed over her. Today was the day. The festival was less than 24 hours away, and doubts had mingled with the excitement that buzzed in her bones. She could feel the adrenaline coursing through her, mixing with the weight of the impending event. After breakfast, she slipped on her comfy shoes and made her way to the community center. The scenery around her had transformed. Colorful decorations hung like vibrant streamers in the breeze, and laughter spilled from clusters of friends setting up tents and booths. Each brushstroke and handmade banner spoke of hope, creativity, and unity. She could hardly believe how far they'd come in such a short time. "Maya? Over here," David called, waving her over to where he was helping some kids paint a mural. "What do you think? Should we add more stars, or go with a sun?" "Make it a sunrise," she explained, her enthusiasm bubbling over. "We're celebrating a new beginning." As they painted, Maya watched the expressions of the kids' pure joy, innocent wonder. For a moment, the weight on her heart lifted. If they could capture this feeling of unity brought forth by art and festivity, maybe, just maybe, they could do more than just unite for one day. But as the sun gradually dipped toward the horizon, casting a golden hue on everything, her excitement was interrupted by a sudden crash. A loud thud echoed from the back of the center, followed by frantic shouts. Maya's heart raced. Instinctively, she and David rushed toward the noise. They found several community members gathered around a fallen table, with the elder woman frantically pointing toward the entrance. Maya ducked under the still-propped open door and felt her lungs constrict. 3 rough-looking men were shoving their way inside, shouts of anger flying from their lips. Confusion and fear rippled through the crowd, and Maya felt her heart pound louder than ever. "What is going on?" she asked, her voice trembling but firm. The biggest thug lifted his chin defiantly. "We're here to shut this down. You think you can just throw a party? This isn't your place." "Get lost." Maya's mind raced. This wasn't just about the festival anymore. It was about standing up against intimidation, about defending the community they had worked so hard to build. "Turn around," she called out, trying to keep her voice steady. "You aren't welcome here. This is our home, and we won't let you destroy it." The men laughed, but Maya could see the uncertainty flicker in their eyes as the community gathered behind her, shoulders braced, a collective spirit that felt as impenetrable as a wall. "Stay back," one of the men shouted, brandishing a crowbar. "This is your last warning." In that moment, as fear coursed through her veins, Maya felt something shift inside her. It wasn't just dread she was facing, but the growing power of her community rallying behind her. Their collective bravery began to strengthen her resolve. "What if we stood our ground?" she thought. "What if together we could turn this into something they would never forget?" The air was heavy, charged with an electric tension, as she locked eyes with Aaron, who remained at the edge of the crowd, arms still crossed but an intensity simmering in his gaze. Maybe this was his moment, a chance to either maintain the status quo or break free from it. "Together," Maya shouted, her voice ringing clear. "This is our moment to show what we're made of. Are we going to let them push us around?" The crowd responded with a roar, spirited and united. Maya felt the ground shift. They were no longer just preparing for a festival. They were stepping into a fight for their home. But before she could react further, a loud siren blared from the distance. A rush of dread coursed through her veins. What would happen next? Would they stand their ground, or would the looming threat pull them apart at this critical moment? Maya held her breath, heart racing. What would the community decide? The shrill wail of the sirens filled the air, piercing the tension like a knife. Maya's heart was in her throat as the crowd, once so vibrant and alive, now stood frozen, waiting for the next move, uncertain and fearful. Would the arrival of the police bring help or escalate the situation into chaos? "Stay together," Maya cried out, her voice cutting through the panic. She needed to hold on to her resolve, but uncertainty gripped her chest tight. The thrill of uniting the community against the threat from the thugs felt less certain with every glance at the men who stood with malicious grins on their faces, the crowbar glinting ominously in the fading light. Aaron stepped forward, a protective distance between Maya and the danger, his expression fierce. "We said we'd fight for our home, right? No one is going to back down now." His words ignited a flicker of hope among those nearby. As the sirens grew louder, choice met choice. Would they retreat? Or would they push forward, refusing to cower in fear? Maya felt the weight of the moment rest on her shoulders, and she straightened up, summoning every ounce of courage she could muster. "Let us show what we stand for," she shouted, igniting a spark of determination in the crowd. "This is more than just a festival, it's about who we are as a community. And we want to be threatened." In that moment, heads nodded, and a low murmur of agreement rippled through the group. Maya could see the change. The fear that had clouded their faces was being replaced with the fire of resolve. People stepped closer, side by side, forming a line of solidarity that grew with every breath. Just then, another sound interrupted the cacophony, the rumble of tires on gravel. A black SUV screeched to a halt right outside the community center, the sudden arrival causing everyone to turn. The doors swung open, and out stepped a woman in sunglasses, her long coat fluttering as she strode toward the crowd. "Maya," she called, her voice steady and commanding. "Get behind me." Maya blinked in disbelief. It was Angela Davidson, one of the wealthiest figures in town, known for her philanthropic efforts and influence. What was she doing here? "Who the hell is this?" The thug with the crowbar sneered, stepping forward as if to intimidate. His bravado faltered as Angela held her ground. "You're making a mistake," Angela said, her gaze firm. "These people deserve their festival. You'll walk away empty-handed today." Maya felt a swirl of emotions: gratitude, anger, confusion. Could Angela really help? Would this billionaire stand up against the thugs? questions mixed with the pounding of her heart. "Maya," Angela added, her voice lowering just enough for her to hear, "I'll handle this. Just trust me." Incredulity accompanied the rush of adrenaline through Maya's veins. The community's momentum hinged on this moment. Could a powerful figure like Angela truly make a difference, or was this just another way to influence the narrative? Maya glanced around at her friends and neighbors, inspired but uncertain. A mix of hope and anxiety pulsed through the air. The moments stretched as she weighed her options. Would they let anger and fear dictate their fate? Or would they find strength in unity, led by someone they had watched from a distance? Would Angela's arrival turn the tide? As the tension coiled tightly, Maya took a step forward. "We stand for each other. Whatever happens next, we face it together," she yelled. The men hesitated, the sirens blaring behind them. The confrontational scene could break in any direction. Maya could feel the crossroads ahead of them. What would become of her community, and who would stand by her side when the dust settled? The crowd drew a collective breath, waiting. The collision of fear and hope hung in the air, thickening the atmosphere. Suddenly, the thugs advanced, their menacing intentions clear. What would Maya and her community decide to do now? The thugs moved in, their eyes narrowing like predators spotting their prey. Maya's heart raced. She could feel the adrenaline coursing through her veins like fire. Angela stood firm, an unyielding fortress amid the chaos, her presence radiating confidence. "What do you want?" The leader spat, brandishing his crowbar like a weapon of intimidation. Angela didn't flinch. "I want you to turn around and walk away. This festival isn't yours to destroy." Her voice was low and even, but it held a power that resonated through the crowd. Maya felt the energy shift around her. The bystanders stood a little taller, shoulders back, as if Angela's words infused them with courage. She could see it in their eyes, the resolve to stand united. "Look who thinks she can play hero," sneered one of the thugs, gripping the crowbar tighter. Maya noticed something change in the air, a crackle of possibility building between the community and the threat. "Enough," Angela commanded, her tone sharp as glass. "You think you can come here and ruin what we've built? This isn't just about a festival. It's about respect, about community." Maya's breath caught in her throat. Angela wasn't just defending a party. She was claiming a space for everyone who'd ever felt marginalized, for voices that hadn't been heard. As she spoke, a wave of disbelief washed over the group, igniting a mixture of hope and fear. "Whatever money you think you can take, whatever threat you think you pose, it means nothing compared to the strength we have together," Angela continued. The thugs exchanged uneasy glances. There was a crack in their bravado, a flicker of doubt that Maya quickly seized upon. "Listen," she yelled. "You're outnumbered. You think we're going to let you walk all over us? We won't let fear control us anymore." There was a roar of agreement from the crowd, and the thugs faltered. The sirens echoed in the background, growing closer, a reminder that help was on the way. Angela took a step forward, eyes fierce beneath her sunglasses. "Leave now, and I promise we won't press charges," she said. "Stay, and you'll not only deal with me, but with all of us." The thud of their pounding hearts mirrored the tension hanging thick in the air. Maya felt like she was standing on the edge of a cliff, between compromise and confrontation, a moment that could reshape the night. The thug with the crowbar hesitated, his jaw tightening. "You think you can just buy us off, huh? You don't know who you're messing with," he growled, looking for any sign of strength in his companions. But it was too late. Angela's fierce determination had sown enough doubt. The community rallied behind her, a wall of solidarity against the impending storm. Their voices blended into a chant, a powerful slogan of unity and resilience. Eventually, the leader of the thugs, realizing his grip on the situation was slipping, turned to his men. "We're out of here," he barked before stepping back. The others quickly followed, retreating with uncertain glances, their bravado diminishing into the shadows. Cheers erupted from the crowd. People clasped hands and hugged tightly, their faces illuminating with relief and joy. Maya turned to Angela, a rush of gratitude washing over her. "Thank you," she breathed, her voice barely audible over the joyful clamor. Angela smiled, a warmth breaking through her fierce demeanor. "We stand together, remember?" But before they could celebrate, the police arrived, blue lights flashing and sirens blaring. The energy shifted once more, apprehension creeping back into the crowd. What will they say? Maya wondered. Would Angela's intervention change the narrative, or would the police see yet another side and turn against the community? The crowd watched intently, hearts racing, unsure if this was the end of the confrontation or the beginning of a new struggle. Maya felt a sudden heaviness in her chest. The moment of victory felt shaky and uncertain. Just as the police stepped out, their faces serious, she realized the real challenge lay just ahead. Could they continue standing strong together despite the looming uncertainty above them? The police officers emerged from their vehicles, eyes scanning the scene with a practiced caution. Maya felt her heart sink as they approached, the cacophony of cheers behind her fading into a hesitant murmur. A tension built like an invisible wall between the crowd and the officers, as if everyone was holding their breath in unison. "Step back, everyone," one of the officers commanded, voice clear and loud, cutting through the air. He was tall, authoritative, but Maya could see the wary glances exchanged among the crowd. She bit her lip, uncertainty gnawing at her. Did they see fear, or were they ready to be allies? Angela stood her ground, shaking her head slightly, as if to send a silent message to the group around her. "Hold on," she whispered, anticipation etched on her face. "What happened here?" Another officer, younger and less confident, asked, stepping towards Angela. "Where are the suspects?" "They left," Angela replied, her voice steady. "But they tried to intimidate us, to ruin our festival. We stood together, and they backed down." The officer nodded, still looking skeptical, but Maya could see some of the fear in the crowd soften. "You want to report this? We can take statements." The weight of responsibility settled heavily on Maya's shoulders. Did they really want to go down this road again? The past was littered with stories of mistrust, of voices going unheard. "Will you actually listen?" Maya blurted out, the words flowing before she could stop them. Angela turned to her, eyebrows raised. "Maya," but it was too late. Maya felt a rush of courage. "I mean, will you really help? Or will this just become another incident report that gets forgotten?" The officer seemed taken aback. "We're here to protect you. That is our job." "Protection doesn't always feel like protection," Maya shot back, her heart racing, embers of anger igniting. "It feels like isolation." The words hung between them, heavy and electric. A murmur passed through the crowd. She could feel their eyes on her, anticipation crackling in the air like a live wire. If she backed down now, everything Angela had fought for would unravel. "We need you to stand with us, not against us," she breathed, passion igniting her voice. The officers exchanged glances, uncertainty painting their faces. "Look," the younger officer finally said, "we're not looking to escalate anything. Can you tell us more? What happened? We can investigate." As Maya began recounting the events, speaking with intensity about their unity and courage, she noticed the crowd leaning in, hanging on to her every word. Angela stood by her side, an unwavering pillar of strength. Together, they were more than individuals, they were a community, rewriting the narrative one sentence at a time. The urgency in her voice seemed to pierce through the officers' reservations. Slowly, the atmosphere shifted again. The officers nodded, more engaged now, recognizing the legitimacy of the voices before them. A few moments passed, and relief washed over Maya when the crowd began to discuss how they could show their support for each other moving forward. The fear began to dissipate, replaced by shared determination. But just as hope blossomed, a shout rang out from the edge of the growing crowd. "Look!" someone cried, pointing down the street. The atmosphere thickened with confusion and concern. Maya saw movement, a figure sprinting toward them, face obscured but familiar. "Wait, is that?" she started, squinting against the lights. Angela's expression turned alarmed. "No way! What are they doing here?" And with that uncertainty simmering, everything hung in the balance once again, an unexpected twist that could change everything they had just begun to rebuild. Would this newcomer bring clarity or chaos? Maya stood frozen, her heart racing. The familiar figure hurrying through the crowd was none other than Aaron, but this time, his expression was different. It wasn't defiance or anger painted across his features. It was determination. "Maya!" he shouted, breathless as he reached them. The crowd murmured curiously, uncertainty hanging thick in the air. "Why are you here?" Maya asked, her brow furrowing. His presence hadn't been expected, especially in such a pivotal moment. She could feel the collective gaze upon them, the tension palpable. "I just saw the thugs drive away and figured something was happening," he panted. "I didn't want you to face anything alone." The sincerity of his words cut through the tension, leaving a trail of understanding lingering in the air. Suddenly, the reality of the situation set in. The police were there, the threat had retreated, and Aaron had arrived with a fire burning in his heart. What if we made our story clear? Maya thought. "Listen, everyone," she called, turning to the crowd. "Aaron is right. They thought they could intimidate us, but we showed them we stand together. We need to take this opportunity, this moment, to extend our community's vision." Her voice crackled with energy, and she felt the rhythm of hope intensifying with each word. Angela stepped closer, her protective presence fierce. "This is our chance to bring this community forward, not just tonight but for every tomorrow that follows. We are building something bigger." Aaron nodded, joining Maya's side. "What if we showed the police we're united? We can stand together, not just for a festival, but for our collective futures. We need allies, and we need them to see who we are." Maya's heart soared. Here was Aaron, someone who once stood as an adversary, bridging the gap with a newfound allyship. She took a deep breath. "This is our story. It has chapters of struggle, but now it's time for a new chapter, one of resilience and collaboration." Excitement spread through the crowd again. One by one, people began to step forward, voices rising in solidarity. "We're here for one another," someone shouted. "We won't back down." The energy was electric, the air crackled with possibility. With each passing moment, a transformation took root. They weren't just organizing a festival. They were forging bonds, breaking barriers, and rewriting their narrative, turning their community into a powerful force together. The younger police officer took a step closer, nodding in agreement as letters of unity and strength unfolded before him. "That's what we want to see. Tell us how we can help moving forward." The atmosphere was thick with determination, hope entwining with action. Fear began to thaw under a wave of shared purpose. "How can we make our community stronger, and how can you help?" Maya asked, glancing back toward the officers. "Let us create a partnership built on trust." As if propelled by one heart, voices flooded the space. "We can increase outreach programs. We need art in our schools. Showing our stories of festival will amplify our voices." Suddenly, those ideas that once felt like mere whispers burst into a powerful anthem, guiding their newfound hope into tangible action. History was being rewritten right before their eyes, where walls crumbled down brick by brick. Unified action, Maya breathed, her mind racing with the possibilities. But beyond just this night, they were laying the groundwork for deeper relationships, growing collaboration that extended throughout their community. The officers were nodding, hearing them out. "The police are here to support," the younger officer said, now with more conviction. "Let us form a community advisory board." Cheers erupted. The moment was alive. The spirit of the community soared. Maya turned to Angela, her heart full of gratitude. "Thank you for standing with us." As the cheers echoed through the evening, a radiant light washed over them. They had stood against the storm and come together as one mighty current, bringing forth a tide of unity. They had each taken a step beyond their past hurts to redefine their future. Maya looked at Aaron as their eyes met. A small smile broke through, signaling an understanding. Together, they had faced the fear, embraced the uncertainty, and ignited a flame of change. This was community, this was hope, this was transformation. And so, as the festival drew near, the promise of new beginnings filled the air, wrapping around them like warmth on a chilly evening. Now it's your turn. You need to subscribe immediately to our channel, so you don't miss out on the next stories that inspire change. This is the moment to show your support with a thumbs up. Leave a like now to help the algorithm lift these voices to even greater heights. I want to hear your reactions. Comment below your feelings about this ending. Share instantly this transformation with at least 5 friends who need to see that unity and hope can change everything. Don't wait not even one more second to spread the message.